So in the last year, my business has grown by 50%. We have massively grown. I think we're on track to double this year, so grow by 100%. And I genuinely do not think this growth would have been possible if I had insisted on continuing to do everything myself. Because for years I did. I wrote all of the emails, I filmed all the videos, I edited all the videos, I just did everything, all of it. And I used to think that made me better than other people, but in fact, I was just overwhelmed and stressed out and missing deadlines, and it wasn't actually admirable. It was holding me back. And when I began to build a team, I could finally relax. And it ended up being, I think, just the single best choice I probably have ever made in my business. And I want to walk you through how I have built my team and how you can get started with this if you want to, even if you feel like it's out of budget right now. Thank you to Go High Level for sponsoring this video. So for a long time, I genuinely believed that no one could do what I do the way that I do it. My video editing style was too specific. All of my business just lived in my head. And this ended up being a massive mistake. And I think it's a mistake that almost every single creative solo business owner ends up making. It is so easy to fall into this trap, but nothing holds you back more than this. Because when you're running a business by yourself, keeping everything in your head is honestly, at first, the easiest thing to do. Why document your process if you already know how it works, right? Like, why build out systems if you are the only person that would be following them to begin with? You're already stretched thin, so the last thing that you want to do is give yourself more work, especially if it's not important, so you don't. But the problem is that falling into this trap, having your business live only in your head, makes the idea of hiring feel impossible. Because your editing style, your launch process, your whole way of doing things, it isn't written down anywhere. It just lives in you, and that becomes the story that you tell yourself about why you can't hire, why you can't delegate. And that story, it might be true right now, but it does not have to be. I only really started to see how damaging this was to the growth of my business when I began to understand how much revenue I was leaving on the table. So a few months ago, I posted this video where I went over the biggest bottlenecks that creatives face as they're growing a business. Either you don't have the right offer, you don't have enough leads, or you aren't converting enough of those leads into buyers of that offer, right? And those three bottlenecks essentially form a cycle, and you're always in one of them. It is always your responsibility to solve one of those bottlenecks. But there's a secret fourth bottleneck that I didn't mention in that video, and that's you. When I was the only one working on my business, everything was beholden to me, right? To my schedule, to my energy levels, and I have a chronic illness, so if I couldn't post a video or I couldn't edit a video, then things just didn't go out on time. Balls got dropped, deadlines got missed, and even on days where I was completely locked in and everything went right, I was still the ceiling. The business could only ever move as fast as I could. And this has a real tangible cost that I think people do not think about enough. Let's think about it this way, right? Let's say that you're a ceramicist and you are spending 10 hours a week on video editing, packaging orders, cleaning your workspace, mixing new glazes, and all of that takes active management. You also have to answer customer service emails, and let's say that's like 10 hours a week that you are not spending on the high leverage work that actually moves revenue in your business, that actually sort of moves the needle, things like creating new products and filming content, right? Those 10 hours that you are spending on low leverage work that could be done by someone else, that has a real tangible cost. If your mugs are like $150, which is a pretty typical price for handmade mugs, at least the ones that I buy, that is potentially like thousands of dollars of missed revenue every single month if you would have ordinarily spent that time making new work. Do you see the value of this? Like, every hour that you are not spending on high leverage work in your business, that you are spending somewhere in your business, you are losing money. It is so valuable to hire someone else. It will probably actually make you money to spend money hiring someone else. That's kind of how it works. It's crazy. And if you were that ceramicist, you could pay someone $20, $25, $35 an hour if you wanted to be generous. I like to be generous when I hire someone to take all of that kind of operation stuff, to be a studio assistant, let's say, and mix glazes, monitor kiln firings, kind of clean your workspace, do all of that for you. And maybe as a benefit to that, they can also make their own work, but they're not kind of actively doing stuff for you. And that would be a really amazing trade, right? Like, two people, you and someone else, can just trade time and money together, and it can be a really amazing benefit to you and your business. So, when I finally decided to hire, it ended up being, again, probably the single best choice I ever made. And I want to walk you through exactly how I did this. Okay. So, when I finally figured out that the status quo was unacceptable and I had to make a change, I sat down and I just wrote every single thing that I do in my business, all of it, every single task. I did not organize it. I just kind of vomited words onto a Google Doc and I figured the rest out later. But this is the first step, very genuinely figuring out all of the things that you are doing, all of the little invisible tasks, all of the admin work, all of the operation stuff that is taking time away from the really important work that only you can do in your business. Because in an ideal world, ideally, all of the time that you are spending on your business is spent on work that only you can do, that no one else can actually achieve the way that you can. But a lot of the other stuff, mopping the floors, cleaning things, answering emails, probably realistically, you know deep down that could be delegated, right? So let's figure all of that out. And once you have done this, once you have vomited up all of the stuff that you do onto a piece of paper, you're going to use a really simple framework to figure out what to delegate and what not to. And this framework is from Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, which I love and would recommend. But the core idea is super simple, right? For every task on your list, ask yourself 2 questions. Do I enjoy this? And does it drive revenue? Those 2 things. Okay? If the answer to both is yes, then keep it. That is your zone of genius, the kind of stuff that, like I mentioned earlier, only you can do, and so only you should do it. For me, that's making art, directing design, scripting and filming videos, developing offers, teaching students. That's the stuff that I like to do. But if the answer to some of these tasks is no, if it doesn't drive revenue, but you enjoy it, that's probably a thing that you could do some of if you want to. And if it isn't enjoyable and also you don't like it, then delegate that or eliminate that from your business altogether. For the stuff that isn't making you money, but you do really enjoy doing, that could be a hobby. That could be a thing that you still make time for, especially if you really, really enjoy it. Definitely keep it. I'm not saying to get rid of those things, but for the things that you don't enjoy and maybe don't drive that much revenue even, but are still important and necessary in your business, that should be automated, delegated, minimized, any combination of those 3 things. But as I went through this list, 2 really big categories of tasks kind of began to reveal themselves. And these tasks were eating a ton of my time. Number 1 was video editing. Number 2 was operations. For video editing, I enjoy video editing. I've done it for a long time, but I post anywhere between 4 to 6 videos a month. I'm filming 3 videos this weekend, and video edits take between 4 to 10 hours to complete, 10 to 12 if they're really complicated. And at that point, that is a full-time job that eats into everything else. I cannot do that. If it was 2 hours a month, yeah, sure, I would love to, do a little bit of it. But I don't love it enough to make it everything that I do. And the second thing that I noticed that was eating a ton of my time was operations. And in this context, operations involves all of the admin tasks, right? All of the back-end system stuff, things like scheduling emails, managing customer service inquiries, managing my community, tracking conversion rates, building out sales pages, adjusting sales copy, setting up automations, all of that stuff. You do not understand how much work goes into running a business, I think, until you begin to run a business, and then you're like, wow, this is actually a lot of work, and it's really hard, and it's psychologically challenging, and wow, I had this idea of what my life would be like, and it's just kind of not that, but it's still awesome. And when I wrote all of this out and realized that I had these 2 massive categories of tasks that I frankly did not enjoy doing that much, that were eating so much of my time, I realized what was preventing the growth that I wanted. And it was that. It was me spending all of my time on those 2 things. And that set the stage for what I did next. But before we get into what I did next, I want to thank Go High Level for sponsoring this video. So the thing that I've noticed is that people that work in operations in the back end of a business, the kind of people that you would actually want to hire, they already know and love Go High Level. Go High Level is the industry standard tool for exactly the kind of work that we're talking about here, right? Automations, sales pages, email sequences, conversion tracking, customer service, all of that could live in one place. It takes all of the little operational stuff that is currently scattered across your inbox, your DMs, and a Google Doc that you haven't touched since 2022, and it puts it all in one place. It makes it actually feasible to grow your business and deliver an amazing experience for your customers. And when all of these things like email automations and, I don't know, testimonial requests happen automatically, the stuff that's left on your plate, the stuff that actually needs a real person, becomes a lot clearer, and you spend more of your time on things that you actually enjoy in your business. If you struggle with spending the majority of your time as a creative on not creative work, this could be the answer for you. And one thing that I really appreciate now that I have a team is how you can add unlimited team members on Go High Level. It is not like an extra cost to do so at a certain point, and that's amazing. That is so beneficial. There's even a built-in kind of chat on their platform, so your team can collaborate without having to talk about collaborating in a totally different tool like Slack or Discord. It's just kind of all in one place, and that's really, really handy. So if you are building out your operations infrastructure and you really want to deliver an amazing, seamless experience for your customers, I cannot recommend Go High Level enough. If you want to give it a try, there is a link in the description for a free 30-day trial. Now back to the video and my story about hiring. Before you do anything else, look at your list of tasks and ask yourself a few things. Number one, what tasks naturally belong together? Like for me, I noticed that video editing and operations were nice clusters. Is that true for you? Or could you make it true? Could you give someone complete responsibility over an entire domain of your business, like packing orders, for example? The one thing that I wouldn't recommend to do here is to try and pass off social media marketing. I know that I'm going to get a million comments being like, how can I do this? And the reality is that unless you are truly horrifically awful, or you have a lot of spare cash, or both, because the best social media agencies out there that are full service that will give you what you want of like making all the content for you, they generally cost anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000, even $6,000 a month. That's a big expense. That is a big, big expense. That is like how much I pay myself as a salary every month in my business. Like that's a lot. Probably you shouldn't outsource marketing. Is there another thing that you could do there though? Could you have someone help you with the video editing side of it? Could you have them just do all of that work for you, right? Where they color grade, they video edit, they do the rough cut, they upload it. All of that's handled on their end, right? They could handle something like that. You could also have someone help you spot trends, notice that in your business, help you write scripts. At that point, you're bringing more of that work in-house. But trying to offload like all of marketing as a concept is not a thing that I recommend. But you could do order packing, for example, here, right? Where someone can print all the labels, check pricing for shipping, and order packaging materials for you, bring things to the post office, do all of that labor. And what I like about giving someone control over an entire domain of your business is that they are able to like see the big picture and feel a sense of kind of ownership of the project and their role in it, right? Because you're also kind of taking yourself out of it a little bit more because you don't have to wait on them for any next steps. They don't have to wait on you. The more that you can kind of give them ownership of a thing, the better off you will be. So think about that as you are trying to kind of figure out what roles you want in your business aside from you. And the last question that you want to ask yourself is what this person needs to know, what kind of training they would have to have, what information they need, and should they be trained by someone else, or do you have the time and the space to train them in the way that you do it? All good information to know. And my particular specific strategy for hiring great talent that I do not see elsewhere, that as far as I can tell, no one has ever talked about, but that I do all the time and always recommend, is very simple. Number one, once I know exactly the kind of person that I want to hire and what they would need to know, I find an online course that teaches that same thing. And importantly, that kind of matches the vibe that I have in my own business. Like, I would never hire someone that took like a crypto bro course or something and like whatever role that I wanted to hire for that kind of had that vibe to it. And even if it's not like on crypto, I think we all kind of know that culture, right? I wouldn't hire one of those people. But there are lots of courses out there that teach really specific and amazing skills, things like blog SEO or digital business management, video editing, etc. And the best people that I have hired have come from online courses that teach the same skills that I want to hire for. And when I find a course that fits this, I message the person that runs it or their team or their customer support line, whatever it is, and I say, hey, I have a job listing. I would love to hire a graduate or a student of your course. Here's the requirements that I have. I'll even put like a job listing example that I've actually sent and have had great results from on screen right now so you can see it. And I'll just send that to them. And usually they're like, oh my God, yes, of course. I would love to have you hire one of our students because if you think about it, the best possible thing that can happen for someone that runs an online course or teaches some kind of skill online is to have their students get hired and get paid money to do the thing that they taught them. Like, that's just obviously a really great outcome. The financial incentives are very aligned there. Like, the person that runs that course is going to help you find great talent. And to give you even more information, the person that I love hiring from their community is Daya. Daya here on YouTube. Daya has a video editing course with Maya Zine and also a digital business manager course called DBM Bootcamp. And the two roles that I have hired for, the best people that I work with have come from those courses. It's crazy how amazing her community is, how kind and qualified everyone is, and Daya has been an amazing mutual to have on this platform. I am so grateful to her. And this method just kind of works. It's not always going to be perfect for every single hire, of course, right? Like you might find that you don't need someone that has like very specific skills all the time. But when you do, if you can find an online course that will teach someone that particular way of doing things, then you should just reach out to people that do that course and be like, hey, can I hire one of your students? So I don't know. It's kind of a niche thing. I almost didn't include it in this video, but I think it's worth mentioning because of just how useful that one very particular technique has been for me. And following that strategy landed me in a situation that I did not fully expect, but I think was actually a really great move for my business. So when I began to outline the operations role that I wanted to hire for, I was really convinced that I only needed one person. And so I began an interview for this one role that was kind of a lot. Like there were a lot of responsibilities that I wanted someone to handle. I had high expectations, let's say, okay? I was interviewing candidates and a lot of people that I talked to were great. They were so nice, so qualified. And as I did more of these interviews, I noticed that there were kind of two groups of people. Some people that I interviewed were really excited about the community aspect and talking to students, being sort of closely connected with customers and sort of having that kind of higher touch service component to the programs that I offer, the workshops that I do, stuff like that, right? And other people that I talked to really loved the numbers, the nitty gritty, the sort of back end operations, the like tracking conversion metrics and kind of stuff like that, and running sales copy and stuff. The two groups of people were kind of different. And they had like different relative strengths and different experiences, basically. And as I narrowed down the candidates that I wanted to hire, this is for like a contractor based role, a pretty hefty monthly retainer. And as I narrowed down the field of candidates, I landed on two people that, again, were very different, but that I was really equally excited about. So I messaged them and I was like, hey, do you want to have this role? And do you want to have this role? Like, can I tailor make roles for both of you so I can hire both of you? And your role is a little more streamlined, it's narrower in scope, but I think you specifically would be better at this. And that was an amazing choice that I made. And the two roles that I ended up creating for those candidates were pretty different. One was community facing, much more customer service focused, much more sort of thinking about education curriculum and keeping students happy, and how can we like deliver on the transformation that we are promising? How can we make the results happen faster? How can we like sort of better fulfill the promises that we are making to students? And the other role was a little more sort of pure infrastructure focused, right? Thinking about sales pages, email automations, lead magnets, running paid ads, which I'm experimenting with and we'll have a video about soon. And those are the two roles. And I ended up being really extremely happy that I went with that. And I think that you should too. I think that as you are interviewing folks for a role in your business, keep in mind what the candidate's strengths are, right? You can do a thing that kind of no corporation can do, where you can create a role specifically for one person in your business if you want to. If you have a candidate where you're like, wow, you interviewed for this thing, but I think that you would be great at this, you can just ask them if they want to do that. You have the power. You can do whatever you want. That's crazy and so cool. I genuinely love the flexibility of running your own business and being able to kind of make the business that you want and be the manager and the leader that you want to be. It means that like the people that work with me are way happier and more fulfilled because I can just ask them like, "Hey, what are you good at? What do you want to do? What are you excited about? How can I make that happen for you?" So, I think that's a thing that you should definitely keep in mind as you begin hiring. So, before we wrap up for today, I want to walk you through the exact org structure in my business and my team. So, who I have and where I have them. On the video editing side, I actually have 3 video editors on the team. Patrice is the lead video editor. She has this incredible eye for design. Like, I feel like our design senses are very much in line. And she also loves organization and systems. So, we have been refining the kind of PowerPoint presentation vibe that we have in these videos together. I've been art directing that. We've been like kind of collaborating on it. And she's also created this amazing kind of SOP template guide that helps other video editors get more consistent results and understand how to use this style. So underneath her, there are 2 other video editors. And I find that I don't always need 3 editors, but I batch create enough content. Like I'm filming 3 videos this weekend, for example, that always having someone available is really important. I have enough brand obligations, I film enough like extra stuff for one-off projects and things that just having one video editor would like eliminate their capacity. I would burn them out basically. And I really like having options there. And I think other folks do too because they can have other clients, their projects, they can, do their own thing, right? And I think that's really valuable. On the operations side, like I mentioned, we have the community sort of customer service, education, fulfillment kind of role, and then we have the pure infrastructure role. And it's great. These people, they all work together and they're collaborating. It's awesome to see like Josephine, the community manager, interface with Kaylee, the operations lead, to figure out like the best onboarding email structure for students that join like a workshop. And it's awesome to see all of that happen. And it's especially awesome that I don't have to be as involved in it as I was before. It's really amazing. And I know that what I've described sounds like a lot, and you're probably being like, okay, this is like very privileged or something. But I have built this team very slowly and very intentionally over the past year and a half. And for a long time, I did everything myself because that was what I could afford to do. And I thought that hiring was impossible and it would be too expensive. And I thought, I don't know, all of these things. But the reality is that, like, you can find really amazing talent. And I am in a place where I pay my talent very generously. I pay them, like, a wage that I would be happy to receive here in California, no matter kind of where they are. And I think that it's what kind of works best for me as a business owner. I'm able to retain the really amazing talent that I can find. And the thing that you should do, the kind of way to dip your toes into this, is to go through that list that I had you do and find that one big category of thing that is eating the most of your time and just trying to hire for that one role. For a lot of folks that create video content, that might be a video editor. And there are amazing video editors out there, truly amazing ones. I know because I've hired them and they're really cool. And you can just find people to help you with things and you don't have to do all of this yourself. I really regret sort of talking about how feasible and cool and awesome it was to do everything yourself in your business, because I don't think that's the thing that I should have been glorifying, and I am really sorry that I did that. I think that was not wise of me, but I think I was also sort of stuck in that belief where I believed things that I was saying and I wasn't lying about it, but it was like I was just really mistaken. I didn't sort of understand how valuable it could be to have a team, and I think that I would basically never again suggest that someone try to scale their business beyond 6 figures, beyond like $100,000 a year by themselves. I think it's just really, really hard. Even in the book, $1 Million One Person Business, which I read because I was reading it trying to figure out how to make a $1 million a year business as one person. I was reading it and I was like, everyone ends up hiring someone. What is this? What is going on here? Why is everyone in this book, all of these case studies talking about hiring contractors and employees? And like, I don't know, it was very funny. It was very funny. And it made me realize that I just had to hire someone and I couldn't avoid it anymore. And that was actually the secret to being less stressed as a business owner and having more time for my creative work. So Just don't believe that you can only have yourself in your business and that you can't hire someone, because you can. You totally can. You have to write everything down and you have to train someone. And that will take some time for sure, but it will be time incredibly well spent. So that was a kind of rambly video, but I hope that you understand how to hire someone a little bit better now. I pay people either hourly per project or in a monthly retainer, and we kind of ascend through that ladder the longer that you work with me, and that's kind of how everything goes. So again, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, let me know. If it wasn't, maybe don't let me know, because that would hurt my feelings, or do if you want, if you have constructive feedback. And I will leave more videos on the screen right now if you want to understand the bottleneck that you are facing right now in your business that could be helpful for you. There will be a video on the screen. So that's all for me, and I will see you in the next one.